What Johnny did not know was that far older than him, the devil's own house was beginning to crack. Mephisto had a son. His name was Blackheart, and he wanted his father's throne. There was something on Earth that could give it to him. The same contract of 1,000 souls Carter Slade had buried a century and a half before. Find that contract, and even the devil himself could be overthrown. So Blackheart came to Earth to find it. And in 2007, that was the moment Mephisto remembered the boy from the carnival. Johnny Blaze became the next Ghost Rider, bound to serve the same master Slade once turned on. But before the curse came for him, the past did. Roxanne walked back into Johnny's life as a reporter, sent to cover the most famous stunt rider in the country. Sent, in other words, to interview the boy she had spent half her life trying to forget. For one impossible afternoon, Johnny was given the thing every man like him spends his life dreaming about, a second chance. A chance to undo the worst thing he had ever done. They made a plan to see each other that night, and it was that night, of all the nights in his life, that the devil chose to call him in. Johnny changed for the first time. The man he had been disappeared into a thing of bone and hellfire, and the rider went out into the city to hunt the wicked. And that very same night, he came face to face for the first time with the very thing Mephisto had sent him to stop. Blackheart, the devil's own son, in the flesh, hunting for the contract. They tore at each other through the streets of the city, and by morning neither one had finished the other. When the sun came up and Johnny was Johnny again, he found himself somewhere he had not chosen, a quiet cemetery on the edge of town, lying in the grass at the foot of an old chapel. The rider had brought him there. The spirit, it turned out, knew where it belonged. What it had brought him to was an old man tending the graves. The man knew Johnny's name before Johnny ever gave it. He knew what Johnny was and what he was about to become. He called himself the caretaker, and he had been waiting for this rider for a very long time. Johnny did not really hear him. He had too much on his mind, and the biggest part of it was the woman whose night he had just ruined. He went to her to apologize, and Roxanne shut the door on him. She had spent the better part of her adult life learning not to care about Johnny Blaze, and she was not going to let him walk back through that door so easily. But love is a stubborn thing. By nightfall, she came back to him on her own, not to forgive him, but to ask the one question she had carried for years. Why did you leave? So he told her. The deal, the devil, the whole impossible truth of his life. And of course, she did not believe him. The man she had once loved had turned into someone who told fairy tales to dodge a real conversation. She walked out a second time, and this time it really did feel final.